Hello, today I'll be evaluating Nike, the shoe company. And if you've all been following Nike over the past few years since 2021, Nike share price has dropped more than 50%. So from a high of 160 to now it's trading currently at 60. I'll be evaluating whether Nike is a good company and whether now is the right time to buy. So I'll be evaluating from three main components. Firstly, I'll be checking whether Nike is a great company. Second, I'll be checking what's the fair value of Nike. And thirdly, I'll be checking what is the recent concerns about Nike and whether there could be further drop to its fair value. So first, to evaluate whether Nike is a good company, I'll be checking its revenue. I want to see whether there's consistently growing revenue, at least in the past 5 years or the past 10 years. So if I look at the chart, I could see that over the past 10 years, Nike's revenue has been roughly consistently increasing. So that's a good sign. So next thing I want to check is, besides revenue, is the income statement. I want to know income from continuous statements, whether it's consistently increasing. So I can see that over the past 5 years, it's been rather flat. I won't say it's consistently increasing, but the trend generally for the past 10 years is increasing, except during maybe slightly before and after COVID. And lastly, the most important part is the cash flow from operating activities. And we can again see over the past 10 years, the trend has been continuously increasing, except in 2020, which most likely is affected by COVID-19. So good sign, increasing revenue, increasing income, increasing operating profit over the past 10 years. I also want to check its gross margin. So if I go to gross margin, you can see Nike's gross margin is very cyclical. It's go up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Net trend, it's decreasing very slightly from 44.5 10 years ago to now about 43. So slight concern, but I won't say very much because it's just a very slight cyclical decrease. So based on the financials, I can say that Nike is a good and great company. Next, I'll be evaluating it more qualitatively. So Nike is a very strong brand, so it has a wide moat. But in terms of whether it is easy for competitors to enter this industry, it is very easy because it's a shoe brand, and if you know, there are rising shoe companies in competitiveness, for example Adidas, for example On. So these are very strong competitors that are eating into Nike's market share. So in terms of the moat, I would say not so big. Next, I will be calculating Nike's financial using the discounted cash flow, and I have a calculator here. So this calculator, I'll be entering the operating cash flow. You can obtain this operating cash flow from Yahoo Finance, so on, with total debt and the short-term investment. To get the cash flow growth rate, I'll be using three sites. The first site I'll be using is Zacks.com. I can see here that Zacks have a very positive EPS growth rate for Nike, and it gives it about 15% for the next 3 to 5 years. I'll also be using the second site, which is Finviz. If you swap over to Finviz, I can see Finviz on the opposite spectrum is not very positive on Nike's aspects and only gives it negative 13 for its next 5 years EPF growth. Usually I'll take an average of these two sites, but because it's so wildly different, I'm going to use a third site for comparison. And that's just a simple Google from Reuters, which gives it at 8.4%. So if I take an average of all these three, I get to an average of about 3.4%. And the 6 to 10 years is just half of the 1 to 5 years, and the 10 to 20 years is just half of the 6 to 10 years. So that's how I get these values for the cash flow growth rate. Number of shares outstanding, again, you can get from Finviz, beta from Finviz. And this gives us a current market share, intrinsic share price of 62.75. And if you look at the current market share price, it's 62.27. So at Nike's current share price, it is already at fair value. Is this a good sign? Yes and no. The good sign is Nike is trading at its fair value, so you're not paying over for it. But I'll tell you why this is not a good reason. This is not a good full reason, because usually you would want to have a buffer for certain things. And I'll be now going to the third point on what are the recent concerns for Nike. So the main concern for Nike is its sluggish consumer performance. As I've mentioned earlier, competitors are eating into its market share, and its revenue and its income is no longer consistent. It's going flat. We can see from its revenue it's going flat as well. That means continuous growth could be worrisome. Second, and more importantly, is Trump's tariffs. So Nike's main production center is in Asia, and Trump has very high tariffs on there. So no one knows whether the tariffs could be high or it could be removed in the next month. No one knows. But basically, in order to price in this uncertainty, I would like a buffer on Nike's share price in relative to its intrinsic values. And these two concerns are very valid, they are very real, and they would affect the stock price both in the short term and in the long term. So personally, I wouldn't say Nike is a buy right now. I would wait for at least a buffer of 10 to 20%. So I'm looking more in the region of 50s. So if it's around 53, 54, I might consider buying Nike. But at this current share price of 60, I would say it is too high for my comfort level, and I wouldn't buy it at the moment. Thank you. If you like my video, please like and subscribe.